guys got, and I noticed all you guys got like cool last names, and I got Smith. I'm just so basic in the group.
Oh, come on. You have so many famous relatives as opposed to me.
Nah. Hey, brother, how you been?
Great, great. Very, very busy, right? We've been enrolling a lot of new clients, working with a lot more done for you projects lately, as well as our, private coaching clients. We got a lot going on here. How
Yeah.
busy have you been? So you and I have been so busy, we haven't even caught up as much as we should.
Yeah, I'm so busy. Like you see that right there, that's actually a white spot for my skull. That's actually not a light right there.
I don't believe that. All right. Well, let's talk a little about what we want to dive into today. What we really wanted to touch on, because what's going on is a lot of coaching, right? What did that mean? Say coaching, coaches to coach other coaches. And there is a lot of that going down. And why that's happening really is a lot of recycled content, tactics, strategies, templates, frameworks, all of that. You join insert high ticket coaching program. It doesn't really matter who. You learn stuff, and then you go all of a sudden want to teach that stuff to clients, because what's happening is a lot of people are going into coaching programs without a solid expertise or a solid offer or solving a solid problem. So in that coaching program, maybe they don't make money back, but they take what they learned and go, oh, I can go pitch that to somebody else. But it didn't really work for them, because what's the common denominator there, Fred?
Well, that's them. I want to add to that, if that's okay. Because because here's the truth. The reality of it is you're still in most cases going to fail. And the reasons why is because it's not your original intellectual property. So you got to understand something. Even on a PDOC side, you've got to be an expert at what you do. And if you're still working to figure it out, that's great. Book a call. That's why we're here. But at the end of the day, you have to own your space. And if you don't, then you have that cultish feeling, and you're not congruent. You sound like everybody else in the marketplace, and nobody's looking for a carbon copy or a counterfeit. They're looking for people being original and unique. And it's not just me saying that. That absolutely comes from the data that Facebook absolutely has been sharing with me for the past year. The reality of it is we have, for the first time on this planet, the opportunity to just take literally pennies a day and run ads and do the exact same thing as a multi-billion-dollar a year company. That's all I'm going to say, bro. To me, that's the power behind of what we do. But I know that's not the main focus of what we want to talk about.
That was what I was looking for in that answer, though. It really is not having their own IP, not having their own expertise and their own, system to go deliver results to clients and deliver a transformation. That's what it really does boil down to. But what I'm going to to screen share, and let's go through some of the topics that really we can implement right away into going to make a difference. These are the things in the marketplace and what's going to be working in the future going forward. There's trends, right? There's waves, there's
that looks
trends.
So Reservoir Doggish.
Yeah, now I might use it, to be honest, but I threw it back in there today. I thought it'd be cool. I kind of missed that image. You can shoot a gun, then you got to learn how to hit the bullseye, be accurate. And beyond, really, right? Because what's working today and what's working in the future. What I was talking about with like watered down content, it's also outdated content. Like there's certain programs out there that are charging 5 figures and up, and they're teaching what they were teaching 2 or 3 years ago, when that's not what they're doing themselves to get clients. And that's not even what's working today in the marketplace. It's a quantity over quality game, where we're trying to go for a quality game, right? We want to be talking with quality prospects, quality individuals, and we want to work with clients that are actually going to be ideal clients. There's a huge difference between just working with people, to make a deal, as opposed to working with your ideal client to get the biggest results. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's really key what you're talking about, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're serving people really to the highest level. You don't sound like a carbon copy. You really are bringing the goods, and we can always tell, because typically you don't know what your knowledge gaps are, but that's none of my business.
It kind of is your business since you do that, but let's go through there's 7 main things I want to cover here, and hopefully we can get it in without boring you guys for an hour, right? We're trying to wrap this up, and I know we did a little intro there, but let's just dive right into it. So number 1 is the overarching thing, right? And this is going to be prevalent in everything we do, and this is the foundational reason that PDOX is here, and that it works in multiple different verticals, and it keeps spreading and keeps growing. It's communication. I mean, that's always going to be foundational in what we are all doing, right? How do we communicate? And 3 main aspects, and then I'll let Fred kind of elaborate on this, but 3 main aspects that have been more relevant and effective now more so than ever is, are we really relating to people, or are we just putting our stuff out there? There's so many people promoting online rather than going in a relational manner And their main three aspects are, can I relate to this person? And actually listen, right? Listen to understand, not just to reply. As Fred's very aware of what that means, and he uses that verbiage as well, right? But can I be relational? Can I come from a place of service ultimately? And can I deliver value? If those are your three main aspects behind your communication, you'll pretty much always succeed. People just get so far away from that because they're taught different. And they're even taught things that don't always resonate with them and don't feel right. And they feel icky or spammy sending these messages, but they do it because their coach says do it, right? One thing I always tell people is you're still the business owner. I don't care who you're working with. Every coach, you better not take everything they say and just run with it unless you 100% fully agree. If you have any doubts or hesitation, collaborate, have a communication, make a decision as a business owner and say, he suggested that. That's really not right for what I do. I'm not going to utilize that, or I'm going to tweak it and change it, right? So that's what it comes down to. But Fred, I'd like to hear you elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because what I've seen in this space, and that is actually, me and Adam were talking today as far as just the coaching stuff in general. The interesting thing about it is, when you go to swipe that card, it's supposed to be with the intention that you're going to take the best of what they're teaching you and apply it to what you're already doing. So if somebody's taking your money, and regardless of whether it's us or anybody else, you should just be using your due diligence and absolute discernment to see, what is their true motivators? Like, why are they doing what they're doing? Are they a carbon copy? Do they sound like somebody else? And actually go test a few funnels. I know they always talk about the impending event close. Like, if you don't buy it right here, it's going to go back up to the regular price. And that's okay, provided that you did your research, because the average person now online is becoming very sophisticated. They're not just jumping in like they used to back even 5 years ago, where you could do like a 45-minute webinar and next thing you know, you're booking a call for 10K. Now that still happens, just for the record, that still happens. But what they don't tell you is that that's at least 60 to 70 hours of absolutely knowing your client and absolutely working through them to make that funnel effective. That's the part that they don't tell you, okay? So what you have to do in order for this to really work is you have to PDOX it. Because when you use the PDOX method, what we're doing is we're getting all of those special parts of the conversation that you need to succeed. And without that proper messaging, you might as well just go ahead and give me your checking account ABA round number, because I can use the money. You're going to lose. There's a high probability that as a result of you not really following the process, yet alone doing the key research necessary, that you are going to fail. That's the reason why so many people fail online, is because they don't want to research. And I'm just like, why would you spend that much money just to throw it away? It makes no sense to me. So sometimes it's not the coach's fault, because they know this. The part that you don't know is that you're still going to have to put in work.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. And, going back, this kind of dives into number two. So I'll transition right there, because I think we hit on that pretty well, and we want to move on to all seven. But that kind of rolls right into messaging, right? How to stand out and how to actually hook people. But when we're still communicating, right? So all of these are within, that's why I start with number one, communication, because messaging is another aspect of that. So those are all still in play, right? Relational, service, coming from value. But now you also got to be able to stand out, because like Fred said, the market's becoming more sophisticated. That's never been more true, right? And you have to be able to hook people. You have to be able to get them to actually reply. That's what I call the hook, is either, if this was your ad, right, it's what draws them into watching longer or clicking below. But if it's any kind of organic, whether it's a post content, whether it's, cold or warm outreach messaging, you got to get the first reply. You got to get them to come back. I hear so many people come in and be like, hey, I send out X amount of messages, but I'm ghosted so often. They obviously don't have a very good entry message and a good hook that's offering some intrigue or some value into opening that. And I can give like a great example. Somebody reached out to me the other day, and I try to get pitched all the time. And I teach this to some of my private clients, how I can kind of flip the script and get them booked on my calendar, especially bad outreach. I see as like an open invitation to like, you need help, man. And I'm going to show you there's a better way, right? So this guy reached out to me, and his first message was super basic, right? I see we're in some business groups, that's some commonalities. Love to connect. How are you? I kept it 3 words. I'm well, thanks, right? Great to hear, blah, 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 right? So what is it you promote online? And I came back with this. I don't promote anything online. I just go in out there every day with the motto of I aspire to inspire. I just want to inspire somebody every day. That's literally what I do. And my products can sell as a byproduct of that. I don't need to sit there and promote. Promoting, I think, is a bit different than marketing, than sales, than, promoting is kind of blatant dropping links, right? Self kind of gratification and glamorizing. But anyway, long story short, he finally gets to the point where he's like, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And I basically told him we have 3 different businesses, showed him the website to 2 and the Facebook group to the other. He's like, that's awesome. Then he sends me this message, right? Hey, I have this great group where I teach business owners to get to 10K months. I think you get some great value. I was like, man, I just told you I had 3 businesses. Do you not know we're at 100K months? Like, why would understanding where a 10K a month is be valuable to me? And then I told him, I'm like, don't you think you should kind of see where I'm at, see where I'm trying to get to? So what you pitching me, see if it actually like offering value. That's what we always do with our knowledge gap into eco, right? We're always injecting something of value, an unexpected solution, because we're assessing them and seeing where they fall on our ring of prospects, sophistication level, how established are they, right? All of those things come into play. And when somebody finally does present their, I wouldn't say that was necessarily an offer, but that's to get me into his funnel, right? To start by getting me into his group. If there's nothing of value there, what is my incentive? He didn't figure it out. Is so I never do that. I don't go into a conversation and just throw something out there, not knowing if it's going to help because it's so his message. What I'm trying to get at was scripted, right? He was listening to reply, not to understand.
Yo, and Chadi, my bad, bro. He's like, "Where's my invite?" And then he says, "Kangaroo." Hey, but check it out. The reality of it is, though, you hit the nail on the head. And if you don't remember anything else in this live, you have to delete that word pitch because our market is way more sophisticated than just a pitch. If you are looking for that hypnotic marketing, then that's not this place. We're talking about very sophisticated people who typically come to PDocs. That's how we were able to train up 2,500 students, and they did over $100 million. The reasons why is because we were dealing with very sophisticated audiences to begin with. Everybody has to remember that Adam did not start in this lane. He was doing music for like, DJ Khaled, We the Best, and all that other stuff. God did, like he was out in that lane, hanging out with celebrities, athletes, entertainers, and that's a whole different lane in like venture capitalists and everything else. So that's a super sophisticated market. They're not pitching anybody in that lane. I know because I worked in it for 20 years. The way that it works is we have real relationships and we're looking for real relationship equity. So the eco framework is designed to give you some relationship equity as well as the how hero. So when you put all of that stuff together and we're showing you how to just book these calls and do it the right way, we want you to have real relationships because the right relationships do matter. I was just telling that to Matthew today. I'm just like, look, man, you can spend all the money that you want, but I guarantee you, if you have a strong Rolodex, you don't need to. And the people who don't really need to do all of that stuff, they have real conversations, period. Yep. That's the way it works. So organic marketing does work. Advertising does work, just like Adam says. The key thing about it is making sure that you do your research, stay in your lane, draw a straight line and walk it. And that's how important what you just said, bro. So I don't want to go super ham, but I just want to let you know that I'm on one today. So I see you.
Awesome. I think we're pretty much on the same page with all this, but it's great to get both point of views, both perceptions. But yeah, I mean, exactly what he's talking about. So that's what we dive into in PDocs, right? And as you get deeper into working with us, obviously we have kind of the fundamentals so you can understand how to stand out, how to lay down hooks, and then it's going to work for the different tactics, like Fred had just mentioned. Organic works, paid works, email marketing works, all the get. I hear all the time, email's a scam, email's dead. It's like email's never going to be dead when it's done right. And how many people are still using email every day? When you tell them email's dead, and I see there's 800 million emails opened a day, how the data?
Bro, that's just straight marketing hype. I'm an email marketer by trade. I learned that 26 years ago. The reality of it is, you want to pull people off of any platform and get them onto your list. If anybody else is telling you that, they're using marketing hype and they're straight up lying to you. Because even in some of the lanes that I'm in, they're super tough, they're super competitive, and some of them can't be known for whatever reason. So they have to email. That's just the way it works.
Yep. And when it gets to hooks, what's important, what a lot of you guys don't realize is what you need to start with is what does the customer already know? Because we have to relate to them. We can't start with what they don't know because many times it can go over their head. So your first hook has to relate, and then we get a little deeper. That's where we inject an unexpected solution. We don't do it necessarily right off the bat because if you go over your market's head, Russell talked about this years ago in a presentation I saw, I think in a Funnel Hackers. Like I went to one of the live events, 2018 or 2019 down in Orlando. And what he was talking about was technobabble, right? Like he speaks that language every day, but when you start talking it to your prospects, it goes right over their head because they're down here. Sometimes you don't realize as the expert in your space, it's your lingo every day, but your marketplace. So you need to make sure your hooks start with something that they know, right? Make it kind of obvious. And then you go into the unexpected stuff. And that's where you really get them to dive in. But you have to be able to relate with them first. And number 3 is super important. I, for one, know that data is and going to be the future of profitable and sustainable marketing. I mean, I can't see super into the future, but I could damn near guarantee for 2022, 23, and 24, it's going to be probably the most relevant commodity, how you utilize data.
Bro, data is the new oil. If you don't know that, guys.
That's the best phrase I've heard.
If you don't know that, you are not up on your game. You seriously got to catch up and keep up. Because I'm telling you right now, especially in the ads lab side, that's the reasons why we have everything that we're working on right there, the identity graphs. Because Okay, so Google a term. We'll see if here's a pop quiz for everybody, Ray. It didn't mean to hijack it, but look up 0-point data. Let's just see how tech savvy you really are right now. That's where the world is going. And within the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, cookies are going to be about 90% gone. So short of you having these relevant organic conversations, you're going to need to learn how data works. It doesn't matter what age you are, 18 to 80, dumb, cripple, or crazy. You need to really understand the principles of data and why it's so important to stay ahead of that curve.
Yeah, and the only reason that's not number one is because if you can't communicate, it don't matter how you have data. Like I know people that can get data, but if you can't monetize and weaponize that data, for lack of a better phrase, then it's useless. Just like people that say email marketing is not good because they haven't been able to monetize it and to capitalize.
It's because they're idiots, and I'm hoping iOS 18 and 20 just phase them out.
Oh, I know.
That's
the 14 and 15. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why why we have iOS 14 hours. That's the reason. This is the exact reasons why, is because there is a fog of war going on right now between communication between people who know how to market and people who don't know how to market. So something that really can help you out, you've got some dumb marketer out there going, no, that's not true. Email is dead. I'm like, whoever says that, literally, you need to delete them out your phone and like never, ever, ever, ever listen to them ever again, because they're trying to sell you something for real.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll mention real quick, because I don't want to spend too much time on data, and I think we might go into techno babble here, what I was just talking about, like not doing, just because this stuff's pretty advanced, right? But the things I would say to keep in mind is know the difference between first-party data and second and third-party data and how important that is. That kind of ties into what Fred was talking about looking up, and also know about data that you control and it's not on somebody else's platform, how relevant that is. Because right now, a lot of advertisers are at the whims of the platform that they're advertising on. All their data is within a Facebook pixel, right? Or within this. Like, you're subject to their terms, their restrictions, their bans, their censorships. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on social media. I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole, but don't be at their whims. Find other ways where you can own and control this data, and you're at nobody's whims, right? So unless you've got anything to add, we can go on to the next. But Fred,
that's exactly what I was going to say, bro. Regardless of what platform you're on, it is your job single-handedly to convert them off of that platform and onto your email list.
100. It sure is, and so many people aren't even doing that. Like, to me, it seems so basic. Number four, we'll dive into, right? Automation, software, and delegation. Great for follow-up processes, for one. I'll go back and touch on all three, and Fred and I will talk about all three briefly, but utilize this primarily in follow-up processes and use multiple avenues, meaning use SMS, use the phone number, use the email, right? Use multiple avenues, use your ad platforms, plug these people back into your ad campaigns, things like that, with your little webhooks and zaps and integrations. You can streamline a lot of these things, because one of the biggest issues I hear from solopreneurs in particular, but smaller business owners, coaches, and consultants, is I don't have the time to do the follow-up. It takes too much time to automate my outreach, or to do my outreach manually, right? How do I automate it? So understand the automations and softwares and tasks you can delegate, which I would categorize as non-revenue generating. Early on in your business, there's revenue generating tasks, productive tasks, and there's busy tasks, right? And you can do this one simple exercise. I call this red dot, green dot exercise. Get 2 colored pens, jot down your 10, 15, you'd be surprised, because I remember doing this when I was solopreneur, and all the tasks you do throughout the day. And then take a green pen, put a dot next to each one that's revenue generating. Take a red pen, put a dot next to each one that's non, and then you'll know tomorrow, let's focus on the green tasks and delegate or push off the red tasks. They're not that important. So productive work over busy work. Once you understand those tasks, now those are the ones you want to be able to automate, and take yourself out of even more, because you can spend time doing the 2 things that matter early on in your business, right? Bringing butts or prospects in the door and closing deals.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to that, bro, is that the fortune is in the follow-up, but right now you just need to grab cash. You need to see if your offer is really working. You can PDocs it, check it out, and then, get the most money that you can, because you're going to need to at least get one person, even if it's a virtual assistant or somebody else to help you. And then gradually you can start really, because the fortune is in the follow-up, but to Ray's point, it's crawl, walk, run, marathon. You got to get that money first. And then after that, start working on the marathon deal.
Exactly. But going forward, in your business, that's why I'm saying, for the formula for today and going forward, those are things you're going to want to implement. But Fred's exactly right. You need revenues coming in. Those aren't things you start with. You start manually and you put in the work. Like, I can't tell you how many hours I put in my first 3 months, at least 3 months of organic outreach. I mean, I was putting in 50, 60 hours a week of just messaging. And as Jesse's called me a few times, the king of follow-up, because I always set a process for everything I'm doing, and I don't let up until the person says no or ghost me or whatever it is. But like follow-up is, like you said, right? I always say the sale is in the follow-up. But yeah, so we're not going to touch too much more on that. I think we did a great job explaining that. Let's dive into the offer, right? Because there's a few things changing, especially I'm in this game like every day. I've crafted over 250 high ticket offers for clients, and I'm doing it daily. And there's been a lot of stuff that's changed in my last 14 months ish, a little over a year of doing this, and really that have gotten me into these three things. So one, first off, we want to have a core offer that's high ticket so we can operate at margins. I've worked with people that have come into our programs and they're doing 10K a month, but they sold $1,100 things, which is great. Like that can be your entry level thing, but there's not much margins there. And when your funnel dies or your ads go up, your cost, like the margins just aren't there to support that business model. It's very, very difficult, especially selling 1,000 of anything a month. Now, if you're somebody very famous selling 20,000 courses at 100, you know, you might not have something to worry about, but the people, what, 1 out of 100 is at that level, if that. And even those guys will tell you they have a high ticket back end program, right? So you got to be able to offer something like that. So a lot of you people, there's usually two main reasons you think you're not, right? One, what I deliver, right? I can't justify charging 3K for that, right? I don't deliver enough value for that. A, you're probably wrong. And B, you probably just haven't talked to the right market yet. You're probably talking to a lot of low sophistication type people in your marketplace that aren't seeing the value of what you offer. Those are a couple of the main reasons that people aren't charging high ticket. Fred, you want to go on that before I dive to the next one?
Yeah, that's just like somebody going through a divorce and you hand them a brochure. You know, they got to get that fixed. You know, if they don't get that fixed or going to the doctor's office, you go there for a deductible. Next thing you know, you need open heart surgery. I mean, these things happen for real. So if you don't think that you can charge that, that means that you're not an expert, because the experts know that they should charge as much as they can. There's nothing about mindset or imposter syndrome on that one, because if you got the goods and you know for a fact that you need to charge them to listen, because sometimes I've had offers that are too low and I've told people, I'm like, I didn't charge you enough, period. And that's a very real phenomenon. People, and again, my challenge to you, if you're watching this, is to don't believe what I say. Go book a call with Ray. He'll get you straightened out. He'll pressure test your offer.
Heck yeah. He's right. You got to get it fixed. That's one of the things that's one of the smallest tweaks. I won't say it's a small tweak, but in the larger scheme of our program and how we work with people, like that one tweak all of a sudden starts to, just rocket ship, businesses. They're like, oh shit, I just didn't have this dialed in, or I was undercharging, or it was positioned improperly, or hell, I'm pitching it to the wrong darn niche in industry. Like that one awareness, and then understanding how to position your deliverables and then present them as the solution to said problem. It's a game changer from there. So getting that dialed in is right. And that dives right into what just Fred was saying. You don't have the goods, right? If you can't deliver top tier results in your marketplace, don't bother. Just don't bother. Just especially high ticket, right? Go create a course and try to be a digital product guy. But the people we want to work with feel like they either are currently or definitely have the capability to be delivering top tier results. I don't want to be a half, and I don't care what we've worked with: mindset, business, life, relationship, fitness. I mean, every niche and coach you can think of has come through, and definitely we've worked with even more agencies. I was just naming each kind of coach, and they all have aspirations to, or already in the past have delivered top tier results, right? So if you can't do that, you're not going to survive in the marketplace. You have to be an expert at what you do, right?
Yeah, it just boils down to focus, flat out.
And then the third thing here I have is performance model. A lot more businesses going to this. And this is what the more sophisticated buyer is starting to look for in 2022, especially. You're going to see it more and more. You're already seeing it, definitely more on the agency side. 2023 and 24, you're going to see a lot more on the coaching and consulting side as well. That's already the next trend that's coming. But performance-based models, can we take a small little retainer, maybe $1,000, whatever your hard costs are, to put a little food on the table, pay the car payment, whatever, put a buck or two in your pocket. But if you know you can deliver said result, set up performance deals based on book calls on calendar, commissions off back end high ticket sales. There's lots of ways. Generally speaking, those turn out to be more lucrative, especially if you deliver top tier results. So don't shy away from doing that. I'm not saying everybody go to that and run out and switch your model at all. I'm saying keep in mind how you can do that going forward, especially with existing clients that are on monthly retainer. If going forward you can offer more revenue share or performance-based commissions off of back-end high ticket sales, probably more incentive for them to stay with you, more lucrative for you in the long run.
Yeah, now you got to, just like Ray said, this is a double-edged sword right here, because
Really? Yeah.
you have to know exactly what to look for to do a performance model before you take on this client. Like, you have to get almost, I mean, you can't see the G word. You see, I just stopped right there, but you have to know that the odds are super stacked in your favor before you go on a performance model, period, in the story. Because I've watched people just jump on that. They don't know what to do. They don't got the frameworks, and next thing you know, they crash and burn. So that's a good point that you made.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah, and way to tie it back together. Six, sales, right? And don't think you don't need sales, because everybody talks about a bad stigma with sales, right? They get very apprehensive when they get into money. They're on a call and they're having a great conversation. They get to money and they feel like they're walking on eggshells all of a sudden, right? And they kind of clamor up like it's taboo. Money is simply a resource, and no matter how you feel about money, like usually if you're like that, it's your own relationship with money that is causing you to act like that. The person on the other end of the phone, you could pitch a 5, 10K offer. Who knows? That could be a drop in the hat to them. Everybody has a different relationship with money. Everybody has a different perception in terms of what's a lot, right? Fred and I, if somebody just asked us, generally, what's a lot of money? I guarantee you we'd have vastly different answers. It's just the way people are with money, right?
I would just say, Ray, I would just say flat out, if they don't want to eat, don't sell. Because again, it's because if you want to go to your side, if you're in a side hustle right now, just wanting to go to do something full time, you know for a fact that you have to quote unquote sell. There's nothing wrong with selling, guys. And, and I don't know where this myth is coming from. It maybe somebody did get butthurt or burnt or whatever, but the reality of it is selling is okay. Closing is even better. It just depends on what lane you're in, because certain deals are not sales, they're closes. So, and this is something we don't talk about in this, that's a different story for a different time, but that's the reasons why the dictionary has different definitions. And I'm gonna just keep it ominous like that, bro.
Totally. Like I fully agree with you. Why do people have such that bad stigma? Like you say sales, and like the thing that pops in their head from the average market that I talk to is they think of some like, dirty used car salesman trying to sell you a lemon and get your cash and then don't care if it dies 30 days down the road, right? But
well, the reasons why they feel that way, Ray, is because a lot of these models were taken from the car game, because I was in it for 20 years.
That's true. That part's true. But you don't have to do it sleazy, right? Which is why A is on the list there. Do this ethically, ethical sales. But there's nothing wrong with sales, right? Without sales, I don't have this pen in my hand. I don't have this cool Apple Watch, right? I don't, like, somebody sold it to me, or somebody put it out there or advertised to me. Like, sales is just a chance to put a great product in front of the right buyer. That's what you're trying to do. If you don't feel like you have a great product, you have a problem.
Yeah, my definition is sales is just a fair exchange of value. It's a fair exchange of energy. In exchange for this, I get that. I'm not going to sit around here and carry chickens around all day. We need some type of formal agreement, and that's what that does.
And exactly ties back into why not to be so apprehensive about money, right? It's just a tool. It's a resource that's used in a value exchange. That's really all that's there. But do this ethically, right? That's what we teach our clients, and that's what we do with our done for you sales when we go in and build out sales teams for some of our bigger clients, is always do this ethically. And a great way to do that is only sell solution-based sales, meaning if you get into a call and your program is not the best fit to solve this guy's problem, to deliver said result, to do whatever, deliver transformation, don't make an offer. It's that simple. Give them a referral, give them a free resource, and tell them you'll get them in touch with somebody. Like, do the right thing. We only make solutions when we know, hey, our program solves this guy's problem and we're going to do a damn good job of it, right? I'd be happy to make an offer, but people are making offers in many cases to take in clients, to drive up revenues, not because they know that they're the best solution. When you keep it like that, you're going to feel great about sales, because you're going to be delivering a great product and a great transformation and result to your buyer.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Doom. Slam the gavel. And lastly, let's talk a little about fulfillment, right? Because most people don't really talk about this. When you go into a coaching program, they'll build out your offer, they'll help you with pillars, they'll help you with messaging. A lot of people don't really talk about fulfillment and what most people are doing. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong, there isn't, with what I said, the older, the basic model. But you can't just do that, right? That's not how to go above and beyond. And especially going forward, more sophisticated buyers, more performance-based offers, more deliverables. You can't just say there's a group session once a week and log into your ClickPhones or Kajabi portal or whatever, right? Offer some one-on-one calls within your program with the right specialists. Keep people accountable. Always be doing daily check-ins, weekly check-ins. Give them templates, resources. We have a spreadsheet for metrics of how many DMs, how many friend requests, how many metrics. Keep them tracking. Keep them accountable. When you come back to that call, hey, Fred, bring up your accountability sheet. How much of your metrics did you hit this week? Because you told me you didn't hit your numbers. Oh, you didn't make any offers, but you're complaining you didn't make any sales? Well, if you hit all your metrics this week, you would have made some offers. Like, clients have to realize, and anybody listening, Like, if you're not making offers on a regular basis, I don't want to hear you complaining about lack of sales and clients. Like, go out there, talk to people, and make some offers, right? Things like that. Offer top-notch support. Another thing people hate within coaching programs is they took my money, I got great service and support, then I got in and I'm getting ghosted. I'm putting in questions, I'm emailing the support channel, right? Be accountable to your prospects as much as, or your clients, as much as you're holding them accountable to going through your program with support. And another thing that helps you stand out, if you can do small kickbacks, promotions, gift, handwritten card, anything that is personalized, that's above and beyond what you normally get, they're going to be like, wow, this guy actually cares about his clients, right? It could be something as simple as a 10-cent Hallmark card that you put a handwritten note and put some postage on. What's it cost you? Total of 60 cents for your 10K client, but now you went above and beyond. So I'm not saying you have to throw them $500 iTunes things or whatever. Hell, if you can, go ahead, great. But I'm just giving you guys ideas and other ways to increase your fulfillment so the client experience and customer journey is as enjoyable as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. You want to give people that world-class treatment that you would want to have, because at the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that also sets you up for referrals and a lot of other goodies and benefits down the road, just from you really showing people that you care. You know, it's one of those things where it is the hallmark to me and the differentiator between good versus great.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I love that. I love that. But I just think too many people don't focus on that aspect. They think that they need, especially what they're being taught now. Hey, man, why work with clients one-on-one? You need to go to a group model. Yeah, your base can be group, but they should still have some one-on-one sessions to get started and understand, you know, the couple core aspects of your program that really, like we do this in our program, right? The first call with a private client, Fred gets on a one-on-one knowledge gap session for an hour, hour and a half, big intensive exercise. I get on an hour, hour and a half offer creation call where not only do we build it out step by step and put it on paper, but then I present it back to you as if you're the prospect and I'm you, until you go, man, I love that. I'm ready to buy, right? And then you understand how easy it can be. You're like, shit, this guy that didn't even know my offer an hour ago just pitched it to me to the point where I was ready to buy it. Now you have the mindset of, now I can go do this, right? Even that, flipping that switch for people, they leave that call just so much more confident. Now I know how to do this. Like, it all just came together, right? That's because they had a couple one-on-one sessions with an expert in that particular area. So you got to get away from like just, hey, we'll talk to you once a week and give you group support, and here's your client portal, and you're onboarded, bingo, and then your hands off, because that's not a above and beyond, you know, experience like Fred was saying. And I think something that's going away little by little in society everywhere is customer service. Like, customer service is just lacking in all kinds of industries. So what I always love to do is, I don't want to say under promise, but promise and over deliver, right? What goes on a lot in this industry? Over promising and under delivering. So hit your promise, but then go above and beyond that promise to your client. When you can do that, you're going to stand out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, that's the differentiator right there. So, you know, I think you just killed it.
So I think if you guys implement this stuff, don't just say, hey, Ray and Fred went over this great stuff. They gave me some great ideas. Sounds good. And then go back to your lives, just do it. Like, what out of that really resonated with you? Like, shit, that would make a difference in my business. I don't care. I'm not saying go implement all 7 and all A, B, C, but like that one thing that you're like, that's my missing piece. Go work on that. Go implement that. This should certainly give you some ideas. I would recommend 2 things after that, right? If this presentation related with you and you saw some value here, but you want some like more personalized information, right, about your niche, your offer, your particular business, like, let's hop on a 15-minute call. I'll drop a link down in the chat here. And if anybody wants this resource that was just on my screen, if you want to go through it on your own so you can, you know, look back at it or check off things, just comment resource below and I will personally send it over to you. Without that, Fred, do you have anything else to say to the fine folks?
No, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for taking your time in and just really getting the nitty-gritty details down, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters in this game. It's a game of inches, because now people can just look any way online. They can say they're the best and all this other crap. But the reality of it is, when you start opening up your mouth, you'd rather have wisdom than to be known as a fool. So, you know, do your homework, do your research, right? Just, you know, just be you, be real, be 100, and just go out here, just serve people to the highest level. That's all I can say, man.
Yep. Goes back to number 1, right? Come from a place of service. Totally. Well, Fred, it was great having you on to kind of brainstorm this back and forth and ping off each other. I like when we kind of ham and egg it back and forth and get both perceptions. I think it delivers a lot better experience too for anybody watching. I'm not even looking. I don't know if we have people on right now or they're going to watch replay.
Yeah,
Let us know though. Oh, you said Chatty had messaged earlier. Chatty's an OG client. He was one of our first people in our first high ticket. Chatty's
Nice.
crushing it. I just sent him over some referrals recently for some setters in his business, but he's doing really well. He always dropping the kangaroo emojis and stuff.
That's dope. Yeah, guys, if you need anything, just give us a holler. We're here for you.
And I'll drop the link below again for the booking link. And if anyone wants the resource, just comment resource and we'll send you over that Google Doc I created here. All right, guys,
Sweet.
we'll catch you on the next one.
That's
Thanks,
it.
Fred.
You're welcome, brother. Peace.
Later.